Hello, in today's video, I'll be walking you through how to register a UK limited company. I've had to do this a couple of times from the businesses that I've had in the past, and also I'm currently doing this for one of the business that I'm actually adding to a subsidiary of my business. So I want to use the opportunity to explain to a couple of us out there that may need guide through to it. So first of all, on Google, the fastest way to actually do it is just to type register a company. Just beware of the sponsored ads because many of the times the companies you see above the list, they're actually not from the UK government. They would actually get you registered, but they come with an additional fee compared to what the UK would charge. So for example, you want to look for set up a private limited company, and when you click on this now, just scroll down, just telling you about what you need to set up a company in the UK. Tells us before we go ahead about the cost as well, and that would get the registration within 24 hours. So just wanting to mention the cost in the UK as of 2026, the time of recording this, for registering a private limited company is £100. That has increased over the years. Up until 2 years ago, up until 2024, the cost for registering a limited company in the UK was just £12. Then 2025 it changed to about £50, and it remained £50 for the whole of 2025 and the first month of 2026. As of February 2026, it's now £100. So it's becoming a lot more expensive to register a private limited company. But one good thing about the service though is that the success rate is almost 100%, out to maybe 99%. Of all the, I think I've registered about 15 or 16 companies in the UK alone, and I've only had one failure, and that failure was because of the name. So weirdly enough, I chose the name that someone else was already choosing, something like this, and then I had to redo it again, and my money was refunded. So, but most of the time, it's always a success. You can never get it wrong. So, what we'd normally do is we'll click on register now once we're ready to register. On register now, it's telling you you're about to start a new application. You say yes, and you click on continue. Now it's going to tell you check if you can use the service. So now this is because there are many reasons why you would not be able to use the service. The first one is show whether you can use the service to register a limited company and set up corporation tax, or takes you to another service where you're eligible to, and that could be probably because you're actually want to register as a sole trader rather than a company, maybe because you might be a person of a significant risk, maybe it's because based on the criteria that you've selected, you're just not ready to own a UK limited company, or it's not the right fit for you. So now one of the things that is now a new thing while registering for a company in the UK is the change in the way identity verification is done. In the past, you just have to enter a couple of names and things that are personal to you, about three of them, maybe for example your date of birth, your dad's name, your mom's name, or the street you grew up in, something like this, and it basically tracks those names for you as means of identity. But of recent, they've also upgraded it such that it actually does verify you electronically that you're who you say you are, and it assigns a personal company house code to you that's only applicable to you, and that's what the application would then use to verify you. Now, do you have a company house personal code? So I already have a company house personal code, but for the benefit of people that are actually have not done this before, I'm going to say no so that we can see exactly how it's going to be done. Then it's going to say all directors and PSC. PSC is persons with significant controls. That could be very high stock. That could be basically shareholders with a very high percentage. Basically, that's shareholders with a very high percentage. Now, before we can go on with the application, because I've selected that I do not have a personal code, I would need to click on verify my details with company and house. So then I'll scroll down here. So there are many ways I can do it, but the main point is going to direct me here, verify your identity. When I click on verify my identity, then it's now going to require me to to actually log into Company House. And it's just going to be like any ID verification tool where you would basically be able to create a Company House login. Once you create a Company House login, it will basically redirect you either to verify directly with your phone or with your computer. It's quite straightforward. I'll click on sign in now because I already have one, and I'll click here, and this is my code. Then I'll just enter my password. So it has a 2-point verification system. It just came in now. Click on continue. Now it says your identity has been verified and connected to Company Now. So this is the thing, because I've already verified mine before, it basically just connected. But if I had never done it before, it will basically request me to create identity code. So it says manage account, opens the new tab. I'll just open the account so that I can collect my Company House code. Your Company House code will look something like this. Your Company House personal code. So for any director, for any persons with significant control or shareholders that you want to add to the Company House profile, you would definitely need the personal access code for this. I'll click on copy. I'll come here. I'll go back to the application. I'll just click on back here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start again, register a UK company, and I'll scroll down here and click on this. And once I click on this here, I'll click on register now. And now it's saying, are you sending a new application? Yes, I'll click on yes. So it will say check if you can use the service. So now we have a PSC, a personal code for ourselves. I'll click on yes, then I'll click on continue. Then are you able to pay your application with card or PayPal? So it's very important that you have a means of paying the application before you go on, because it will be needed. If you do not have the means of paying the application, what you want to do is you want to download INO1 form. If you prefer to send it by post, that usually takes a couple of days. This is an application to register for your company in the government house. You just need to print it, fill it up, and send it via post. It's very straightforward. It's confirming to us it costs £100 to register a company. Would you accept via a PayPal payment for this service or credit card? Yes. Are any directors or person with significant control on the Company House secure register? So people on the Company House secure register are people that basically either do not want the details to be in the public for one reason or the other. So when you are on the secure house register, you basically cannot continue with this service, because every information that will be kept here will be available for public records. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to click no, so we can go to the next phase. You click on no, click on continue. Now, you would now create a gateway for this company. So a gateway ID is eventually the way you would use to basically log into the company. And every time you want to access your company records, it's something I would recommend. Once it lands in your inbox or in your email, you basically start it and make sure you save it, because you're going to be using it over and over again. So now I'm going to click on create a gateway user ID. I'm going to enter my email. For the purpose of this video, I'm going to use any email that will just do the job. So I've created an email. I click continue. So what's now going to happen is it's requesting a confirmation code. You must have sent a confirmation code to my email to make sure that I am actually putting in the right email. And I'll enter the confirmation code here. Click on confirm. It says enter a 6-character confirmation code, so it needs to be 6 character. So I'll click come back there again and open the email, because I just used it from the notifications. Yep, I was missing a J. It's JF. Email address has been confirmed. We'll move to the next phase. Now click on continue. It's going to ask us for our full name. I'm going to enter Bisola Adeni. That's it there. I'll click on continue. It's just going to collect information that it's going to need going forward. So it's going to be quite straightforward from here. I'll just say team 1, 2, 3. Okay, then I'll click on continue. Then now it's generated us a gateway ID, like I mentioned earlier. Now this gateway ID, what I normally do for my companies, in addition to saving it in my email, I would usually take a screenshot of it. So I'll just take a screenshot of the entire screen, and then I would save it. Then we'd continue for the benefit of the video. Now, once we continue now, the next stage we're going to see is you need an additional security setup. So you're going to click on continue. Now it's going to say add a way to access code. Do you want to access the code via an authentication app? Do you want to access the code via a phone call or via text message? I usually prefer text message because it's just straightforward. It texts you and you see it. Phone call, you could probably have issues hearing what it's saying. And authentication code is quite straightforward as well. You just need to download the app and make sure that you have the app ready all the time. So any authenticator would do. But for now, I'll put text message. I'll click on continue. It will say, are you adding a UK mobile number? Yes, I am adding a UK mobile number. I'll put the number here. Then I'll click on send access code. Now it's going to send an access code so it could link my number up. Okay, now it's successfully linked my email. It successfully linked my number. Click on continue. Now the main application would then begin after this. Which of your email address do you want to use for application? I'll click on that one, which was what I used initially. Then what is your relationship with the company? The chances are you're here watching this video, you are probably the owner of the company. So I'll choose director in your case. And it could also be a company secretary that could register for the. So the difference is that the secretary do not necessarily need to have shares. It's not mandatory for the secretary to actually be in the company or the setup, but it's very mandatory for every registered company to have at least one director. So director will be the choices that we'll go for now. Then now it's say, will this company be a company of a community interest company? So this is a special type of company that exists to benefit the community. Its social objective must be written down and approved by a regulator. So except your company falls under this, the answer would be no. Then we move forward. Then will the company be limited by shares or by guarantee? In this section, you want to select limited by shares because the chances are your company is existing for profit and not for non-profit. So click on limited by shares, then click on continue here. Then here, this is where we now choose the name of our company. So the first thing I just want to say is that we need to be mindful of the name we want to choose, and I'll explain why. Most of the time, HMRC's got their records updated, actually all of the time. So as you write a name, you would be able to know if that name is accepted or not. Now you can see here, there is a link here that says, check the company name against an existing trademark. You want to avoid registering a company name that has been trademarked, because what will happen is it may probably pass, right? Because it's not a company name that already exists. It's a company that has been trademarked. That's two different things. But you may face a litigation letter or a lawyer letter threatening to change your name, and then you'd be sued to court. And you want to really avoid all this mess at the beginning of your business. You just want to register your business and get on cracking. You don't want to start worrying about which form to fill to actually amend it and which application to file to actually change the name. So here is the best time to make sure you're choosing the name that is unique to you. So when we click on this link and say use trademark search here, so what it does is it opens a new tab here, and we should be able to search by the trademark name, keyword, and number for whatever name that we are interested in. Now, once you've chosen a name, for me, a name is registering the name per se. It's not really important. A lot of people like the trademark, the trading name, and the company name to be the same. But registering the name in itself for the company is not as important as the trading name, which is what people would know you as. So, for example, another way to check against the company name, aside the trademark, is the actual other companies that exist in that company name. So, yeah, I'll just check the records. Let's say I want to call the name of my company Orange, right? So I'll write Orange. So this is the list of all UK companies in the UK database, and it can be found on the government website via this URL here. So if I click on search, I'm going to see, oh, unfortunately, not only is there an Orange Ltd, there are a couple of Oranges Limited. So probably don't want that name anymore. So for now, I could just say ORA PPP. I just made this up. Now, the choice between limited and LTD or other names, this is all up to you. They're all the same thing as well. Personally, I always go with LTD, but some people would say if the names are longer, if you have a long company name, it's nicer with LTD. If you have a short company name, it's nicer with limited. But for me, I don't think it matters. So I go with any of them. So I'll go with LTD, which is what I prefer. Then I'll click on save and continue. Now, it now says registered email address. Which email address that we already have we want to associate with our registered company? And that's this email address. And I'll click on save and continue. Then I'll continue that I've confirmed that that's the email address. Then which company registered office address. So there is going to be two things I also want to mention here: the difference between an office address and the trading address. So the office address is where all the correspondence will come to. Any letter from the home office, anything regarding the company house, that's where it's going to come to. So, and it doesn't have to be where the office is being trading. It doesn't have to be. It depends on the line of business you are having. If you, for example, you have a software business, you have a business where you already do everything from home, and you don't want your home to be public in the information, there are different companies that offer services for outsourcing service that you can basically use their company. If, for example, one of your company is a grocery store like me, you most likely want your trading address to also be your office address if you have an office there. So in this situation, I'll enter a name here. So disclaimer, most of the information I'll be entering here are going to be blurred out. Then I'll just put 2 here. Then I'll put this here. So now I'll just select one of these here. Okay. Then I'll click on this here. I'll click on continue here. Now it says, where will the office be registered? It will be registered in England and Wales. You can choose any of the 4. What is the company's principal place of business? So this is exactly what I was talking about. So we've just registered the office, and now it's going to be asking us if the office and the trading place is a different address. For now, I would say yes, it's the same. But again, it doesn't have to be the same. They can be 2 different places. So click on save and continue. Then now it says give us one or more ways to contact the company that we've just created. I could use the same number. Just put the contact information that can be reachable. Is this new company replacing another business? The answer is no, except you actually intended to, but it's no in this situation. So now, because we're a new company, when will the company start trading? So what I typically do for this is, there are 2 ways to go about it. You can either just defer it into the future when you know you would actually start trading, or you can think about the fact that from the time you register a limited company, a year from when you register, then it starts being due for annual filing. If you know that your annual filing would put you in a position where you have a shorter account to declare, and you don't want to be worried about the hassle of having to file the annual filing just too soon when you've not really done much in the company, then you want to put the registration date as far possible into the future as to when you would actually start trading with the company. So but for now we can put any date, but just bear that in mind. I'll put the same day it's being set up, then click on continue. In its first 3 months, will the company be doing any of the following: paying interest, making you royalty payments, receiving interest of dividends? The likely answer is absolutely no, except you're maybe an holding company, which I would explain later in another video, or except you're maybe a breakup company. So chances are you're a new company, you've got no revenue, you've not done any trading before, so the answer to this would be no. Then after that, what will your company be doing? So this is the SI code. It's very important. You want to describe as close as possible to what your company would actually be doing. So in this situation, I can say ORAP is my company, which I named is probably a computer software company, just as an example. And I'm going to put computer, something related to what I believe my company does. So I would say we're in the sale of computing. So I'll put that there. So that's as close as possible to what I believe it is. I'll save it and continue. So a company can have more than one SIC code, just depending on the mixture of things they do. But my suggestion is keep it simple at the beginning. Though as your company grows, it's very, very advisable to also update it. Anyone in this application ever sent a secure register form to ask company out for protection? I would say no. If you have, please the answer will be yes. But in this situation, I would say no. You are about to set up the company's director. I'll say click on continue. Now, this is where we appoint the director for the company. Most likely scenario is that whoever is creating the application, if it's a one person company, it's probably the director and the owner of the company. But there are many times that you, as the owner of the company, may want someone to do the office work, running in and out, and be the director of the company. You can always put their name here. Bear in mind that a director is not necessarily a shareholder. You could actually employ a director and they could work as a director and not own any shares in the company, just basically run the day-to-day operation of the company. So in this situation, we're going to be putting who is going to be responsible as the director of the company. So I would put my name here. As the director used a different name, no. I'll put my nationality here and I'll put my date of birth here. Okay. Then my company house personal code, which we spoke about earlier, which I copied in the buffer. This is it here. So it's very important because without this company house code, before it will go through a chain of very painful response and answers, most of the time you need to guess or remember whatever you've answered. But with this, you can fail. It can fail you, and which is usually done at the beginning if you've not done it before. So click on save and continue. Now we've got the director's details. It asks us to verify everything all good to me. So click on save and continue. Now it says the name you've provided is different from the name of the person used for the identity. So basically what's happening here is that it feels that there's a mismatch in the name. So I either want to change the name provided or I want to go with the name, but it's probably best we go with the same name so that it doesn't cause us any issues in the future. So I would say no, I will change to the name provided. So that way everything is in sync. And I think I know where the issue is. Okay, good. So now I'll click on save and continue. So that's all been picked up here. I'll just put on, this is not my full initials. That's my full initials. I'll click on save and continue. Okay, that all looks good now. And the correspondence address of the director. For the sake of this video, I'm going to put the same address, but however, this should be your personal address. So here you would enter your personal address if it's not the same. It's very important that you don't mix it up. For the sake of this video, I'm going to enter the same address. Now, what is the home address for Bisola Adeni? I'll put the same. If this was already picked up from the personal verification code, they may reject it and I may have to put my real address. But yeah, just for the sake of this video, I'll put that. Okay, so now confirm the identity verification statement. I confirm and I'll continue. Then now, does Bisola Adeni want to receive filing reminders by email? Oh, absolutely yes. So basically, I was talking earlier about the annual filings, which is mandatory for every company within the UK. You, most of the time, as a young founder and business owner or as a young business, there are many things happening at the speed of light and you're just involved in everything. And one of the things you don't want to forget is you don't want to forget your annual filing, because there's a deadline for it. Once the deadline is passed, the company now is going to actually take down your company or register you as a dissolved company, and you don't really want that because it destroys your reputation. It's not serious, and even to lenders or credit facilitators, they don't really see the right information about you. When there is an option for an email reminder, that's really good because it keeps you at the top of the game. So the next one, which email would use the same email? Go next. Do you want to add another director? For now, I would say no. If you have a co-founder or you have many of you in the company setting it up, definitely you can add more directors. But for the sake of this video, it's a no. Then I'll just check to confirm the director's details, which are my details, and I'll just click on agree. It should take us to shares now. Good. So now you're about to set up the company shareholder. So now we've set up the director. Now we're setting up the shareholder. I am going to be the shareholder because I am the owner of the company. But again, shareholders can be in the millions. It depends on the number of shareholders you want to have. So for now, it's just me. So I'm going to say yes. Would you like to add another shareholder? I'm going to say no. Now, one interesting thing about the shares, company house will give you a default one share. Let me go there. So I've confirmed that, and I'll say, do you want to use the common share? The answer to this is yes. We'll use the common shares. Now, how many shares does Bisola want to own? So company house will give you the default as one. My suggestion would usually be that you can go for one if you're sure that going forward is just going to be only you. It makes it very simple. But what makes it even simpler, especially if you're going to have as many shareholders as possible, a lot more shareholders, is to always put the a round figure of 100, because shares goes calculated in percentages. You can easily calculate it, whose shares will share when it's 100. When it's one, it becomes a lot of points and it gets confusing. Save and continue. Then now choose a value for each share. I'll just put £1 for each share. This is just basically to evaluate, to give the value of the company. Here we're saying the company is valued at £100, but not in the real sense. It's just a way to actually ascertain the value of the ownership you have of the company. So confirm and continue. You're about to set up the people with significant control. So this is still just going to be me. And from the previous answer, we know that visualize a person of significant control. So the system was able to detect that I'm a person with significant control because I owned 100% of the shares. A shareholder can be a person with significant control, a PSC, only when they own 25% or above of a company's shares. So if I was to own 15% of another company, I wouldn't be qualified as a person with significant control. Does Bisola Adeni have the right to appoint or remove the majority of the company director? Yes. Confirm the identity verification statement. I confirm. So now I think we should be wrapping up. It's going to show us everything that we filled in, and I think I am happy with it. So I'll click on save and continue. Now, what's not going to happen here is it's going to tell us, do you want to use the model article of association? The article of association are basically the rules for directors and shareholders on how to run the company. And it's very key, especially if you want to run a company in the proper way. Many companies like that basically start out do not have any thought about this, or may not have kept in the work to actually do this. Good news is we now have ChatGPT and AI that can easily generate that for us nicely. But the government house always gives an option to actually use their own model article of association, which is usually helpful. So in this case, I'll say yes. If we don't want it, we can always tweak it, or we can always just write a new one. But better having it than nothing at all, in case we may need it. So I'll say save and continue. Now, do you agree to form the company? I'll say yes, I confirm. And then I think from now it's just going to be about payment now. Then we need to confirm that every detail you have entered is correct, which is correct for the purpose of this video. After that has been done, then we just confirm again on page 2 or page 2 that every single thing I've entered is not done in error. After I've done that, we click on submit and send application. However, before my application can be sent, it would now take us to the payment here, where we need to make a payment. We make a payment, we enter our card details, we enter the payment information details, and the payment is taken. After the payment is taken, what happens is it gives you an email notification letting you know that your company has been registered and is being processed. It's usually take up to 24 hours. I've had it in 10 minutes before, I've had it in 24 hours before, but it will take up to 24 hours, and you should get a congratulation email letting you know that your company has now been officially registered. I hope this video was helpful, and if you have any question, please leave in the comment side below. Thank you.